Hello, welcome back to our show. We are here again, closing out the week. Only 4 episodes this week. So we talked about our 5 favorite moments, 5 best moments of baseball history, and 5 favorite moments that we witnessed, and of course, best and worst from last year. One of those topics I did not give because I always like to surprise you. What are 1 or 2 storylines that you are looking forward to unraveling this year?
Oh, man. Wow.
I'll give you some time to think because this was a surprise. I don't want you to be all on the spot, so I'll go first to give you some time.
Yes, please. I'm going to have to think of that.
All right, so my first one, most of all, is seeing how Juan Soto develops. He's got another full season. He hasn't had a full season, of course, since 2019 when he won the World Series with the Nationals. On top of that, a little bit of compound in the same storyline is seeing how Steven Strasburg comes back from injuries. He got the huge extension, had a shortened season, and, of course, had an even shorter season because of injuries last year. I want to see how the two of them work together. The veteran presence of Strasburg. I know Scherzer's there as well, but Strasburg has been with that organization his entire career. Aside from him, you have the new young blood in Juan Soto. You also have Victor Robles, but Juan Soto is that MVP of the team on the offense, at least. If you want to argue Scherzer and Strasburg are the MVPs from pitching standpoint or maybe of the team, that's fine. That's not a bad argument. I don't agree, but whatever. So I want to see how Soto steps into that role of the clear leader of the team at 22 years old. I want to see if he can grab this momentum that he started after only 2 seasons, 2.5 kind of, in the majors. I want to see if he can keep it going or if there's going to be a junior-ish slump, if you will. Second one, I want to see and this is on a personal standpoint as well as honestly, it's something to look at. I want to see just how bad the Rays fall off. They lost Morton. They lost Snell. They've got a Rosarena still, but they added Michael Wacha. They got back Chris Archer. They've got Glass now in the starting number 1 overall. They've got one of the best bullpens. They've got the best farm system. They have the manager of the year as well. Do they have enough? I don't think so, but do they have enough to make the playoffs? What I really want to see, because I think they can avoid this, is do they have enough to not finish under 500? Michael Wacha has been having a great preseason. Chris Archer's coming out the 4th starter. They've got the farm system. Brent Honeywell is supposedly going to hopefully be ready this year if he can be healthy-ish. They've got McKay. They've got Shane Baz. They've got McClanahan. They've got Pete Fairbanks now stepping in the closer role because Nick Anderson went out. I want to see if they got the goods to keep it together and have a solid foundation for next year because I don't think they're going anywhere this year. But can they keep it together and have some semblance of a team for next year when they can go back to the World Series and honestly probably have a good shot at winning? And they set up 2022.
Okay. I'm not mad at any of that. And I like the Chris Archer angle because Blake Snell, that departure is going to put so much more on his shoulders to really come back and try to get to form. So
He's got the best pitching coaches in the league, in my opinion. If anybody can bring him back to form, it's their pitching coaches. Otherwise, he's washed.
That they do. So I think one of the most breaking items in all of baseball most recently is the Eloy Jimenez injury. So how is the Chicago White Sox, how are they going to bounce back from that, right? This is a team that we've talked about that has an embarrassment of riches. You still got Jose Abreu. You still got Grandal. You got Tony La Russa as your brand new manager. You got Tim Anderson at shortstop. With all of that offensive firepower and the manager in Tony La Russa that you want, how is that going to all materialize out in Chicago? So I'm looking forward to the White Sox, seeing how they respond to this and if they're able to hold strong. I myself have picked up Eloy Jimenez on my fantasy team for later. That way when he's healthy.
Someone was listening to my podcast last week.
A little birdie sung to me. Going the opposite angle of the Nationals, what are the Phillies and Bryce Harper going to do this season? I think we're approaching a very pivotal point in the Bryce Harper Philadelphia Phillies relationship because if they're not going to compete in the NL East this season, we might start to see this marriage get really, really ugly. I get the 100-plus RBIs when it comes to 2019 and then the 268, 13 home runs, 33 RBIs last year. But these are all empty stats when you're playing for a team that hasn't really competed for a title since the mid-2010s. I'm interested to see how the Phillies march out of the gate because I think that's going to be very telling in how they either stick with Bryce Harper or, dare I say, start to shop him around It's going to be near impossible to get rid of that contract, but
I think he's got a no trade clause too.
yeah, I know.
That's going to be real hard.
I know it is going to be next to impossible, but something tells me that something smells in Philly and that they're not as happy about that contract as they once were. And I know that you, of all people, know that, knowing how dirty Bryce Harper did the Nationals.
He did his. He to be fair, we thought he did his dirty. Turned out he did us a really huge favor.
Oh yeah, not
Bryce
paying
Harper for that reason is my favorite player.
Replace him with his successor, draft his successor, and then literally go to the World Series. It's beautiful. That's another angle. And then lastly, the development of Vlad Guerrero Jr. He's lost a lot of weight. We're seeing a lot of workout videos this year. Overall, he looks good. So let's see. Now that they've got the pieces, you got Biggio over there. You got George Springer still. Ryu, I believe, is in Toronto, right? They've got the pieces. So let's see what they do with it. I'm excited to see how the Blue Jays perform this year.
I'm going to we'll go to our final thoughts. But before I do, I want to make an outlandish claim here. After this season, the best outfielder on the Philadelphia Phillies will be Andrew McCutchen. So we'll go to our closing thoughts because that's basically it.
I think overall, let's keep it simple. My final thoughts revolve around my Los Angeles Lakers. We need help, y'all. Can somebody send out like an SOS for where the Lakers' talent went? I mean, we didn't do anything at the trade deadline. We stood packed. LeBron and AD are both out. Dennis Schroeder's our starting point guard. Marc Gasol can't play basketball anymore. That's how bad Marc Gasol is these days. And Montrezl Harrell is busy beefing with Dwight Howard. Like it's crazy. I mean, go watch Dwight Howard and Montrezl Harrell get tangled up last game against the 76ers. We are now in fourth in the West. Wow. Only a couple games out of sixth. It's getting bad. Yeah, it's getting bad, man. I have the utmost confidence that we will bounce back, but it's a matter of how far are we going to slide to where we end up facing the Clippers, not in the Western Conference Finals, but in the first round. That's the territory that we're in right now, where we could slide so far and ultimately face the Suns or the Clippers or the Jazz in the first round. Not about it. Not trying to be about that life. No sauce. So let's get it together, y'all. Let's get it together.
Well, my final thoughts are short. Still NCAA tournaments going on here. Gonzaga is still alive. Still got a chance for an undefeated team for the first time since Indiana in 1976. The game is, of course, we film ahead of time, so this will have been on Friday. This will be airing on Thursday, so hopefully they'll have had both games and won both games by the time this comes to air. It's going to be a real tough road to sled. We just saw Loyola go out to Oregon State. I can't believe Oregon State's still alive. But overall, let's go Gonzaga. Let's go Houston. I want to see some insanity.
The only thing I'll say is shout out to a very impressive women's tournament now. And you've been covering that very, very in depth. And so, ladies and gentlemen,
somehow I'm covering a basketball tournament. I don't know
Adam McPartland is our resident women's basketball expert. He's been doing a great job of keeping us informed about the latest and greatest. I flipped on the Texas A&M, Iowa State, I believe it was.
Yes.
Yeah, I flipped on that game because of you, and that was one of the best games I've seen all year.
Oh, I'm glad I can do something with basketball. God knows I can't do much, even when it comes to actually playing on the blacktop. I can't shoot worth anything either. But if I can do something, it's a win. Yeah, I think that'll do it. I don't think I have anything else left to say. Oh, there was one final thought. There was one thing I just wanted to shout out to Shaka Smart for taking Texas and going absolutely nowhere, and then bailing out and going to Marquette. Congratulations to you, sir. Well played.
He finessed it.
In all seriousness, though, Shaka Smart did a great job at VCU because smaller school. I think he's got a great mind for basketball. I was saying this in the chat. Marquette and Xavier always used to be perennial powerhouses, not necessarily to succeed, but at least to win a game or two in the tournament. Now they're nowhere to be seen. So good for Marquette going out and getting a really great basketball mind who was clearly out of his depth at Texas and taking him back to where he can really shine and succeed and hopefully bring Marquette back to maybe even the Elite Eight someday like he did at VCU.
Preach.
Starting next week, nothing but regular season coverage with a couple of fantasy moments probably to talk about as well. Season starts April 1st. Can't wait for this season. It's going to be a fantastic time. Mike, thank you very much for being here. It's always appreciated. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.